to math lesson 14.4. Separate parts of the same whole. I can show subtraction of fractions with visual models and use words to describe the difference. Spark your learning. Ruby cuts off part of the piece of wood for a craft. How much of the original piece of wood does she now have for another project? How can you represent this scenario using a visual model? So before, when we were adding, we had our boxes. And remember, we placed one on the top for the whole. Okay. Now, how many pieces are we breaking this into, guys? Into 6, right? So each one of these has a 6-size piece. Now, before what we did was we went ahead and added those, right, guys? We had 2 numbers when we were adding, and say if it was 5, 6, we would color in 3, right? Okay, and then maybe 2, and then that would show us that we got 5, 6. In this case, we need to say how much we're using of that whole, right? And then get rid of even some more. So what is the length of the whole board? What is the length of the whole board up here that we're using? 5, 6, right? So I'm going to lightly shade in 5, 6 of my visual model. Now, how much do they cut off for the craft? How many of those 5, 6? 2, 6. So I'm going to put an X on 2 of my 1/6 pieces. Okay, so if I took 5, 6 minus 2, 6, what am I left over with? How many pieces am I left over with? 3, 6. And what's my label?
6
yard. Now, can I also simplify 3, 6? What would 3, 6 also be simplified as? 1/2, right? 1/2. Okay, now on these though, they're not asking for simplified, but someday you will want them all simplified. Okay, now remember, when we add or subtract fractions, what do they have to have before you can start? A common denominator. Okay, if they don't have a common denominator, are you just ready to go? No, you would have to find a common denominator. Build understanding number 1. Ruby has 9/12 yard of red ribbon. She needs a piece that is 2/12 yards long to twist across a board. If Ruby cuts off what she needs, how much ribbon will she have for another project? So they want us to draw the fraction model again. So we're going to draw our 1 whole. Okay. How many pieces is the other one broken into? What's our denominator? So we have 9/12 of a yard. She needs the 2/12. And then how much ribbon will she have left for project? And then this is cuts off. Why would I put cuts off in a box? Is that a keyword? Yep. And then, like she said, it uses subtraction. It tells us to subtract. Okay. So how many pieces am I breaking this bottom box into? 12. So then what do I put in each one of those boxes? 1/12, right? Okay, so we put 1/12 in each one. How much of those of that whole did we use, guys? How much ribbon does she have? 9/12. So we're going to color in 9 of those. And lightly shade them so you can still read the 1/12. Okay. Then how much does she cut off? 2 of those 12. So if I were to write my problem, I would have 9/12 equals, or not equals, sorry, minus 2/12 equals what? 7/12. And is that how many colored 1/12 pieces I still have left? Yes. And what's my label? 7/12 of a yard. So how does your fraction model represent the change in length? Does it show us how much she started with? Yep. Does it show us how much she cut off? Yep. And then does it show us how much she has left? Yes. Okay. How does your fraction model represent the remaining length? We just said it shows how much she has left. Okay. And then how long will the leftover ribbon be? 7/12 of a yard. Step it out, number 2. Ruby has 2/3 yard of string. She only needs 1/3 yard to tie a knot. How much string will Ruby have after she cuts off 1/3 yard? So we have 2/3 yard, and then how much string will she have after she cuts off 1/3 yard? What do I need to put in a box? What word in there tells me that I'm either adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Cuts off. So she's getting rid of it, right? So I'm going to put that in a box. Write an equation to model situation. Use S for the amount of string left. So once again, the word what? Left lets us know we are subtracting. That's a good keyword, right? Okay. So what do I start with? How much does she start with? 2/3 minus 1/3 gets us S for how much string she has left over. So now in letter B, use the fraction model to represent the amount of string Ruby has. Change your fraction model to represent the amount of string she uses to tie a knot. Draw a visual model to represent your representation of how you found the solution. So we need to draw our box. Okay, break it in half. That's one whole. How many pieces do I break the bottom half into? 3, because that's what our denominator is. Each one of those pieces is 1/3. Now, how much string does she have? 2/3. So I'm going to color in 2 of those boxes. I'm going to lightly shade in 2 of those boxes. How much does she cut off? 1/3. So I mark out 1/3. What am I left with? 1/3 of a what? Yard of string. Check for understanding number 1. Michael had 3/4 cup of flour. He used 2/4 cup in a recipe. How much flour does Michael have now? Okay, so we have 3/4 of a cup, 2/4 of a cup, and then how much does Michael have now? What do I need to put in a box that lets me know that we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? Used, right? And then they want us to draw the fraction model. So we're going to draw our fraction bar. 1 is our total. How many pieces is the bottom cut into? 4, because that's our denominator. And then 1/4 in each. Okay, how much do I color in? How much do we have? 3/4, so I'm going to lightly shade in 3 of them. Okay, and then how much did he use? 2/4, so I'm going to cross out 2, and what am I left with? 1/4 of a what? Of a cup. Number 2, Bryn has 5/10 of a book left to read. She reads 2/10 more of the book. How much does Bryn have left to read now? So we have 5/10, 2/10. How much does Bryn have left to read now? Okay, what word do I need to put in a box? That's a keyword that's going to tell me to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Well, she read, right? So if you're reading, that means you're getting rid of pages, and then also the word what? Left, right? Because left lets us know subtraction. So this one didn't ask for a visual model, so we don't have to draw the bar model, but so we can just write what? 5/10 minus 2/10 equals, now, not equal, sorry, should be minus. equals, okay, now can I go ahead and subtract?
Yeah.
Yes, because both of my fractions have a what?
Common
Common denominator. So 5/10 minus 2/10 is
3 times
3/10, and what's my label?
pages. Left.
Of the book. On your own, number 3, use tools. Pedro has 5/8 gallon of water in a gallon jug. He pours 2/8 gallon of water from the jug into the water bottle. How much water does Pedro have in the jug now? Use a visual fraction model to support your answer. So what am I going to draw? I'm going to draw my bar model. Okay. And then break it in half. And of course, the top one is one whole. How much am I breaking the other sections into? So I have 5/8, 2/8. Okay, and he pours. So does that mean he's getting rid of it? Yep. And then how much water does Pedro have in the jug now? Grace, how many sections am I breaking that bottom part into? 8. Okay, how much of those 1/8 does he have in that jug? 5/8. So I'm going to lightly shade 5/8. How many of those 5/8 does he pour into the bottle? 2. So I'm going to get rid of 2. So if I took 5/8 minus 2/8, what am I left with? 3/8 of a gallon. Okay, so for number 4, we're going to go ahead and skip writing the word problem, but what would you subtract from 7/12 to get 3/12? 4/12. Financial theorists suggest that 8/10 of your income should be used for spending. The rest should go into savings. If you spend 5/10 of your income to bills, how much of your income could you spend on other purchases? So we have 8/10, 5/10, and then how much of your income could you spend on other purchases? So what am I going to do? So 8/10 minus what? 5/10 equals what? 3/10 of your income.
Okay, how much of your income?
Number 6, use the visual fraction model to find the difference. So they already set it all up for us. We just have to shade, right? So they started with what, guys? 3/8. So we have to lightly shade 3/8. Okay. And then how many did they get rid of? 1/8. So what are they left with? 2/8. Now, they're not asking for things to be simplified, but if you did, could 2/8 be simplified? Yes, to 1/4.